Hello and welcome back to Don't Be M.I.A. As the summer comes to a close, I think this guest is coming in the perfect time to talk about something that really defines the summer for a lot of people, which is bikinis. So today my guest, Jade Abramson, is the founder of her own bikini brand, Lions and Willows. Jade, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Lions and Willows, as a University of Miami student running your own bikini company, this is a very unique but kind of, I feel, perfect place for you to be starting this business and in the perfect city.
Yes. No, I came to Miami with the idea of doing this. So I figured there's no better place to do it than here.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and about Lions and Willows?
Yes. So I'm from New York City. I've wanted to start my own swimwear brand since I was 15. I'm 20 now. And that's why I came to Miami, or to Miami in general, but I study at Miami. And I created Lions and Willows, which is a sustainable swimwear brand. I designed them, and they're made in Colombia. They're made by all women over 40 years old. They all have 401ks in place for once they retire, and all the materials currently are recyclable. And yeah, so we just have a very sustainable and ethical mission.
No, that's wonderful. I'm sure you know, as a producer and working with manufacturers with fast fashion, and especially I think bikinis, because this material is so easy to create, and it's just smaller pieces getting sewn together.
Yeah.
And that leaves a lot of scraps. How did you come up with this how did you want this sustainable message and ethos behind your company and driving with that forward?
It's always been important to me. In high school I took a environmental science class, and so that ever since then it's always been kind of in the back of my mind. So yeah, we also have an initiative that's new where people can send in their old bikinis that they don't wear anymore, and then we upcycle it into something new and resell it on things like Depop and stuff.
Oh wow.
And on our website, and then you can get 10% off of your next Lions and Willows purchase if you send one in.
So this is sending in a Lions and Willows bikini specifically?
It could be anything.
Oh wow.
And we'll just upcycle it just so just to kind of go with our mission.
Yeah. I'm picturing the recycling logo with all the arrows.
Yeah,
and it's just everything is getting reused, which is great.
That's what we're trying to do, to make it more outside of Lions and Willows.
Yeah, that's great. And then they'll hook people into your company and then buy next time or from the go.
So
yeah. So when you're in New York City, 15-year-old Jade is thinking, I want to start my own bikini company. This is going to happen. And did that just spark one day? And what was the process behind this?
So this was during COVID, and we all had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then I just started becoming obsessed with bikinis, honestly, and looking at all of these different bikini brands, and then I don't know what it was, but something in me was I want to do this. And so since then I've worked at bikini brands, and I also interned at Miami Swim Week for 2 years, which was so much fun. But I don't know, I just love
everything about it. Yeah. I mean, I feel seeing your work and on your social media, I feel your personality, you kind of encompass another message you have behind Lions and Willows, which is about empowerment and women empowerment and just supporting women and feeling your best in a bikini, because obviously sometimes people put on a bikini and it's not a fun experience for them, but you're all about putting on a bikini and feeling great as you are, come as you are. And I know that Lions and Willows works with some women's shelters, and that there's a lot of behind the scenes work with the donations as well. So can you speak a little bit about this?
Yes. So I've always wanted to kind of incorporate some sort of service and community aspect into Lions and Willows. Right now it is a little bit tough just because we are a smaller business, so we can't do one bikini. If you buy this, we'll donate all the proceeds. So we've been kind of trying to get involved. 15% of the purchases this day will go to a shelter. And then I also have been wanting to bring a week of a month or something, or like a day every month or something like that, where like the community of like Lions and Willows all comes together and like we volunteer together, or like do like a yoga class where it's like you each pay $5 to get in, and then all of that money, the proceeds will go to like I've worked with like the Lotus House before, and I just like their mission a lot, so I would want to like volunteer with everyone there. So just trying to kind of implement that without
well, I mean, as a small business, it is unrealistic. You started this idea when you're 15 and now you're 20. You've already have a website. You have established so many pieces. But there is one step at a time. I mean, you can't donate 100% of your proceeds. That will come with time when you're on Sports Illustrated Swim Week. But no, I mean, even these small efforts of 15% or even planning like days of giving in the future is stuff a lot of other businesses don't do. And like starting that from the beginning, I think speaks a lot about the mission you bring with Lions and Willows, which is really great.
Thank you.
Wait, so I would love to know what inspired the name Lions and Willows?
Okay, so this was the hardest part of creating the whole business.
No, when I had to name this podcast, I was going back and forth for weeks, so I get it.
Yeah, so everything was like, it took a long time, but so the brand obviously is like sustainable, like environmentally sustainable, and also like I wanted it to be women empowerment. So I wanted to use like things in nature that had like feminine energy, which is the willow tree.
Oh, wonderful.
So I wanted to do willow swim, but I couldn't do that. I think it was taken. So I was like, Lions and Willows sounds good. So then I just did that. It honestly just ended up being this sounds good. Like, let's just do that.
I mean, sometimes that's all you need, right? You just need it to sound good. And there's a little meaning behind it. It's perfect.
So that's how it came
That's the
to
story. So you mentioned a little bit earlier, but going a little bit more into it, before you started Lions and Willows, you did have some experience in the bikini world to like form some of your knowledge about this. So I believe you worked at Frankie's Bikinis in New York, and you worked Miami Swim Week. So how did these experiences shape your knowledge about the swimwear brand and how you applied it to Lions and Willows?
Yeah, so Frankie's Bikinis was kind of like where I was like, okay, like I'm doing bikini. Like when I was 15, I became obsessed with Frankie's Bikinis, and then like I was like, okay, I want to do what Francesca Aiello does, who's the founder, and so she's been kind of like my inspiration. And so when I found out they were having a store in New York, I was like, okay, I'm gonna work there, and like I just wanted anything to get involved with like that brand, because I was like, I love that brand. And then for Miami Swim Week, I kind of worked like the back of house a little bit, helping the designers and stuff, like casting for models and like fittings and like getting all the models out at the right time, like when the shows were happening. And they were both great experiences, and they just like made me more sure that I wanted to work in like that industry.
That's so awesome. I feel like, I mean, Miami Swim Week, I can assume it's a very like amazing, but was it at times like a hectic experience? And so you were in charge of getting the models and everything like that. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. It definitely does get hectic, but I kind of like live for like the chaos in a way, where it's like I love when it's like there's so much going on. So I mean, my first year I was like, what is going on? Like my friends would, like the friends I made in it would have to like be like, this is what you do, like because they've done it for years before. So it was definitely like a little bit intimidating at first, because I was like, I don't want to, like if you make one mistake, like then
you don't want to mess up.
So I was like, but everyone was really helpful, and it definitely showed me a different side of like the industry that honestly ended up being helpful, because when we had our first runway show last December, I wouldn't have known like anything, and so it was very helpful knowing just like the order of looks, like what model will go when, like it just helped with like background information.
A little bit more into this, your first runway show. So I need to know everything. Where did it happen? How did this happen? How did you get your models? and who was in the audience?
Okay, so it was this company called Bikini District, and they had just started their brand or their company last December. So this was their first runway show, and the last one that they did too. Like not the last one, but like the most recent one they've done. And it was in December. It was in a hotel in South Beach.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. They actually organized, their whole like mission is to make it easy for small businesses to like have exposure.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was great. And they were both two like previous students. They were alum. So yeah, they kind of organized all of it. They got the models, they assigned the models to us, and then they had someone running like the back of house, like for backstage. And so it was kind of
perfect.
It worked out really well. They were super helpful. And yeah, it was great.
No, that's great. So in this like relationship, I believe you're studying entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You do a lot of promotion on campus as well as off campus in Miami. How do you balance this relationship between running your own business and being a full-time student?
So sometimes it does get a little difficult, but I'm lucky enough to have my major as entrepreneurship. So I'm taking 2 entrepreneurship courses right now, and luckily I get to work on my business in those classes.
Oh, that's great.
In those courses. So my professor is like the most amazing. She helps me with like everything. And yeah, she made this course so that way it's not like busy work. It's like you actually have to do stuff that will
and you get
benefit
credit.
your business, and
you're getting credit. Wow.
So it's very nice to be able to, like, my schoolwork to be able like to do Lions and Willows within that.
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, I think another thing about going to the University of Miami, I feel like it's a common phrase, like, within people and online, that they say, like, the uniform there is a bikini.
Yeah.
So to have your own bikini company at that school is just kind of perfect. And I think that also leads you to having some really unique experiences, such as, like, getting to wear your own bikini to one of their pool parties, or like selling it in like your sorority house, or pitching your own company to like entrepreneurship classes.
Yeah.
Have you had any other like standout moments, or what have the moments that I like listed before been like?
It's really exciting to me when I'm like when my friends are like sending me pictures. They're like, look, like someone's wearing Lions and Willows at like a pool party or something. That's always like it's so fun to like see other people enjoying it too. Yeah, I just...
Is it ever like a little bit, like, for example, you had a campaign, I believe it was with one of your friends, and you had to have a photo shoot in the library with your brand, and your brand happens to be bikinis, so therefore you're wearing a bikini in the library.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I do think it's very on brand for you, but it's also just very, like, great and funny.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an experience doing that. I, like, was wearing a sweatshirt, and then I was like, my friends were like, okay, like, no one's here now. And I was like, okay. Like, I took my sweatshirt off, and I was like, it's time to take the pictures. But it was definitely, we went to, like, the top floor, the stacks, so it was, like, quiet. But it was an interesting experience.
I mean, that's marketing.
Yeah,
you're showing,
and it worked.
It
was one of like the most high
sales. What was that event for?
It was my friends last year were starting like this like event business, and so they were just kind of planning like a like event for Lions and Willows, where I sold bikinis, and it was like a kind of like a party sort of situation. So it was just for that. But
yeah, that's great.
It was because their brand was called Library UM.
There we go.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
And outside of the campus, I feel like you're also really getting to explore parts of Miami that you otherwise wouldn't have been to, because you do pop-up shops. I believe you've been to like downtown Miami, and did you have one in like Miramar? And these are all very spread out places of the city that a college student, I mean, maybe they stay in the Grove, maybe they go to South Beach, but they're not going to be exploring like all these parts. So what have you learned about this city that you otherwise wouldn't have known?
Well, it's definitely an interesting experience going to like all of the different pop-up shops in like different locations because as I'm not from Miami, so I don't really know all of the places, all the different neighborhoods and stuff. And so I just last year I'd like sign up for a bunch of like any pop-ups I can get. And so no matter where it was, like I would go, which I've kind of reevaluated a little bit because sometimes it's just I'm not gonna sell in certain like it's just there's no like young girls in some places who are looking to buy bikinis. So it's just finding like my target market places, which it's definitely taken a lot of trial and error because even like this summer when I did pop-ups in New York, it was like certain towns 10 minutes away from each other would do better and than others. It's just interesting seeing how like 10 minutes away makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just trial and error, and I've kind of just
I guess it shows you
from there.
It shows you like about the demographics of each area, and you can apply that towards Lions and Willow and like whatever way you see fit.
Yeah, it's definitely like a trial and error process and like figuring out where you belong, which is hard at first, but
yeah,
you eventually get the hang of it.
Yeah, that's great. So Lions and Willows, I guess I have some questions about like the operations of it. As a student, it's not like you have your own office, unless you do.
No.
Okay. So how do you like package these items and where do you store it all? Was it out of your dorm?
Yeah, it was last year. It was out of my dorm. I lived in like my bikini warehouse. It was just me and my bed, in bikinis. But this year, I moved into like an apartment out of the dorm, so I kind of have a little bit more like room with them. And I got a storage unit, which has helped a lot too.
Oh, great!
But yeah, so I have all of the product and inventory in my apartment / like the storage unit. So whenever we get any orders, I package it and like make the shipping like label and all of that. And I just kind of do it from my apartment, and then I use the USPS store on campus, and then I ship it through there. It's in the campus store.
Wow.
So the woman there knows me. She's great, Greta. she ships all my packages.
Wait, that's great.
Yeah.
So it's all you. Are you planning on like bringing anyone onto your team in the future if you guys continue to expand?
Yes. Well, I have one girl right now, Delaney, who helps me with so much. I met her in actually my entrepreneurship class last year.
Oh, great.
And she kind of has helped me like throughout it all. So she's great. I definitely hope to have some sort of like team in the future. Especially because I'm also going away in the spring, so I need to like kind of have
for abroad.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Figuring that all out.
We'll plan it out. No need to stress now. It'll all fall into place.
Yes, exactly.
So looking a little bit more into your bikinis themselves, they have very, I think, special names to them. They all have first names, such as like the Charlie or the M.I.A. And did you name these bikinis? And if so, why did you name them?
Yes. So I named them after like just my friends who have like
impacted you.
Yeah. So the M.I.A. is after like my best friend, who actually has helped with like so much with the brand, like since the beginning with like the samples. We would go on the beach with like a disposable camera, and like we did it this summer too. Like we do it every summer where like we just take a disposable camera and just have like our own little photo shoot. And then I'm terrible with like content creation and stuff, so she makes all she does like the TikToks. She'll like take the content and be like, okay, like this is what I'm doing, and I'm like, perfect.
That's great.
Yeah, so she's come to like a bunch of pop-ups with me and like has helped me with the like aesthetic part of it, because that's just like not my area of expertise. So it's just people who have been in my life.
Yeah, and people who have impacted you. How often do you add new bikinis to your site or like come up with new designs, and what's that process like?
Yeah, so I have a long running page on Notability on my iPad of like designs that I want to one day have. And so whenever I kind of have like the resources to do a new collection, I go on that long sheet of like notes and just kind of pick and choose which ones like I want for this collection. So right now we only have 3 styles, but we have them in a bunch of different colors. So soon there will be new styles, which I'm very excited about.
That's so exciting.
Yes, and some new like colors and patterns. So I'm excited, but it's easier to do like different fabrics and stuff with the same styles just because you don't have to fit them all again. Whereas like if you want a new style, then you have to go back and forth with like the manufacturers within like of like fitting it and then being like, I don't like this, I like this. Like,
aren't your manufacturers as well run by all women?
Yes.
So throughout every step of the process, it's run by women for women.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
And all these designs, so you design like all of them yourself. So Lions and Willows has allowed, I'm seeing like obviously so much logistics because you're running it yourself. I mean, sending them out of your campus, USPS, but you're like designing them yourself on your own iPad. I feel like you're in such a like unique position to like tap into both sides of the creativity and the executive power of it all, and like really working on like your leadership. What like part of you do you think has like grown the most from Lions and Willows?
I mean, there's so much. Like I used to not be like, I hate public speaking and all of that.
Well, here
like,
you are.
I know. And like pitching and like all of that, and now I've had to pitch in front of like so many people. I won one of the pitching, like second place, one of the pitching competitions in Miami, and like won some money for Lions and Willows. So it's just kind of been like, I feel like it's such a mental thing of like public speaking and just getting in your head. So I feel like it's been like, okay, like I can do this. Like it's really not that bad. It's just like,
for the record, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But just like things like that where it's like believing that like you can do it, I guess, because it's all just like you're the only person stopping yourself, kind of.
Yeah. So I guess I have one more question before we wrap up the interview, and that's, do you have any plans up your sleeve or anything we should expect in the future for Lions and Willows, unless it's very top secret? We're not allowed to know.
No, I can spill some secrets for you. We have, like I said, we have some new styles coming, so hopefully there will be a one piece soon. We don't have any of those yet. So that's in the works. And then we have some like new collaborations for next summer. So not everything is like figured out yet, but I'm very excited for that.
Okay,
so
well, stay tuned.
Yes, so stay tuned. Watch the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll put in the link and everyone will make sure to follow.
Perfect.
Well, Jade, I want to thank you so much for coming on to Don't Be M.I.A. today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, not a fellow UM student, I don't go to UM, although I almost did, but just someone who's in the community and making a difference, being really inspiring with starting your own business at such a young age. I mean, it's only going to go up from here. I wish you the best for all like your future growth, and everyone is going to buy one of those. Buy it for your friend, buy it for your sister, buy it for yourself. And also you just started school, so yes. I'm sure you're very busy right now, so taking the time to come down here, I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yay. Okay, and to everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, don't be MIA.